here. Anthony McGuire, Richard Tello,
Here.
Emily Fitzgerald,
Here.
Bill Foster,
Here.
and DC Winchester.
Here.
Not in attendance as of right now is Director Gagan, Dr. Tripp, and Mark Eastman and Matt Montgomery will not be in attendance. Well, good morning. I actually forgot about this meeting until Matt texted me yesterday. So I apologize for the last minute agenda. So the final numbers for the pool this year were, as far as, since I took this position, this is record number. Granted, 2 summers, we were closed half the summer for construction. So 7,300 total guests for the summer, for 67 days, and 80% of those guests were Bucksport residents. That's not counting Orland residents or Verona. I've kind of compiled them under non-Bucksport residents, just for bookkeeping purposes. We do get plenty of Orland and Verona Island and Prospect visitors. We did have quite a few from Bangor come down, even a few from Stockton Springs and Belfast come up. And there's a few other towns that I was actually surprised. I can't remember off the top of my head that did visit. We did average about 119 per day. Wednesdays was our biggest day, where we averaged 154, and the weekends were typical. Those were the slower days. I think those averaged about 30 to 40, depending on the day, which makes total sense since families either went to camp or had plans going on. But pool got its use. The new chlorinator did finally get installed at the beginning of August. After talking with Brian Townsend, our regional aquatics director, we're going to monitor it next summer, and I did mention it to Sue as far as the electric bill, just because that extra pump that's installed has to be running 24/7. Except when we do a backwash, we unplug it. So we're just going to monitor that, make sure that the electric bill at the pool isn't going up by a whole lot. So keep that eye on that for next summer. Do have to get in contact with Wardwells to look at the deep end deck. When Rich and I were there before the pool ended up closing, the deck, I don't want to say it was decaying, but the paint was coming off and it was all black. And partially because of the pavement, it's kind of dips. Similar to the ice rink, it's not completely even. So you have some areas that are completely flat and then it dips a little bit. So water would just pool up on the deep end deck, causing some, not, I guess, damage to the deck itself, but it's also a safety concern. So we ended up putting cones up so people would be cautious around it. It does get slippery. A couple of dogs did go slipping and sliding into the fence at the fundraiser.
Dogs don't know what Collins is.
Right before we opened for the summer, Mike's Pool Service suggested having the deep end wall looked at or possibly replaced from all the calcium that's coming out. He was quite confident it wasn't going to cave this summer, which it didn't, thank God. But he did suggest getting it looked at and possibly replaced. So I'm going to add that to the list when I call Wardwells. The summer camp.
I got a question about the pool. I had somebody ask me, wondering if the water goes into the septic system untreated or if the DEP suggestions are used to help filter out the chlorine first.
I'd have to look into that. I'm still, as far as like the pool mechanics, I'm still trying to memorize it all.
I'm sure it's a lot.
But I know it does filter out, like whatever when we do a backwash and it gets cleaned out, it goes out to the main line and then it pulls from the main line. But we does filter through. But I'll double check with Mike on that. So does it filter through the DEP?
DEP recommendations for pool drainage.
almost certain it does, but I don't wanna say yes if it's not and no if it isn't. Summer camp wise, we had 94 kids attend summer camp this summer. And we averaged about 40 kids per day. All of my camp staff were current Bucksport students, high school students, or former students. We didn't have a camp director. I ended up obtaining that role, which I was able to, by not having a camp director, I was able to hire a couple more counselors. And it's been kind of my tradition of getting the high school students involved with the kids during summer camp, which they did continue the Bucksport model of be the tradition, working with the kids, taking care of them, setting a good example, teaching them some lessons, but also making sure that they had a blast at summer camp. And we didn't have any, I think our biggest issue was a bee sting, which fortunately the kid was not allergic. But outside of that, it was a pretty good summer at camp. And looking forward to next year.
Does your summer camp take advantage of the pool?
Yeah.
So in those numbers that you have?
Yep.
Those are included in those
Yep.
numbers? Okay.
And some of our summer camp kids aren't from Bucksport directly, but when camp does go to the pool, we count it as Bucksport since camp is from Bucksport, and we just put YMCA Camp Group 1. We've, over the last few years, when we send camp to the pool, we try and send them in 2, sometimes 3 groups, depending on the time of the season. Like when the summer school kids join us, we go from averaging 40 kids a day to close to 70 kids a day. So we try and split them up, so that way when we're at the pool, we're not, 1, overwhelming the guards, and then 2, also making sure the public can enjoy the pool at the same time. So yes, the summer camp kids are included in the pool numbers.
How's the 94 kids compared to years prior?
I think it's slightly down from at least last year, and that could be for a number of reasons, but it's not too far off. I think since I've taken over, we've been averaging right around 100, give or take, per summer. So. Summer high school tournaments that we hosted. The soccer one ended up at the middle school field due to some maintenance going on on the varsity game field. 5 of the 6 teams that had signed up showed up, played some great soccer. No real issues as far as safety or kind of super competitive fieriness. We had 1 Class C, 1 Class D, and then 3 Class B teams. And for Class C and D teams competing with the Class B teams, it was great to see. There wasn't really any blowouts. I think there might have been like 1, maybe 2, but for the most part it was competitive soccer from start to finish.
Those mostly local teams?
We had Ellsworth, Herman, Winslow, PVHS, and Caribou. No, not Caribou. Foxcroft.
So you got some travel there.
Yep.
That's good.
Caribou was the team that unfortunately didn't show up, so I had to scramble last second. Fortunately, Foxcroft was around, so they ended up playing Winslow for 30 minutes just to get them a game in. They basically played a half a game, then played their game afterwards. Ellsworth did end up winning this tournament. This was our 2nd year of doing it. It's not a huge moneymaker unless I get sponsors. We've talked in the past about doing admissions, but unfortunately where it's set up, it's tough to set up an admissions table. But overall, I'm not in it for the money. I get people coming to town, kids playing soccer, and that's what it's all about, and ending their summer session on a good note. Not many Foxcroft won't see the Winslow's, Ellsworth, and Herman. Same with PVHS. So, but it was great weekend of soccer, great weather. But other than that, the only thing was just the field didn't seem long enough, according to them. But it was the minimum guidelines. I talked to Anthony and Caleb about it. So eventually, hopefully, if the tournament does get bigger, maybe we can extend it for that weekend. But that's in the future.
Is that boys?
Yeah, I didn't have any girls sign up for the second year. I've noticed that the last 2 summers it's tough getting girls teams signed up in general. I'm not sure if it's because it's the kids themselves or if it's because they're signing up for travel softball or if they have work. But I've noticed it in other areas too. I think the only consistent girls tournament or events I've seen for girls during the summer is the Title IX tournament that John Batts hosts at the Cross Center. I think they invite 12 of the top teams in the state to it, and they compete on Saturday and Sunday in July. So, basketball side of things, we had 16 boys teams play. We had Portland come up, the Portland Bulldogs come up, my alma mater, and then we also had Presque Isle come down. We had Machias, WA, Mananaquah, Jonesport, MDI, Bucksport was in it, Maranacook. So we had a good amount of kind of diversity as far as traveling wise. It was great weekend overall. I think luckily we have a great working relationship with the RSU, so we were able to keep the gyms as cool as possible both days. I know Saturday up at the middle school was a little brutal, but Sunday morning we ended up opening the back gym doors wide open at like 5 or 6 in the morning. Kenny ended up was there when I got there, and he opened up when I got to the high school, he was there, and he ended up going up to the middle school and opening up the second garage door to the cafeteria on the benches side, which helped immensely circulate the air. And we had Bouchard Cleaning, made a deal with them. We had 4 dehumidifiers, 2 for each gym, which ended up helping as well. We ran those all weekend from Friday afternoon to Sunday afternoon, evening time. And I'm looking forward to continuing to work with them for next year as well. Sunday, the middle school back doors were open all day. I was hesitant at first. I was hoping they were going to close it, but the site director left them open, and the floor stayed nice and smooth. And the tacky chemical stuff that the school had ended up being phenomenal. I think between that and then the fans and the dehumidifiers, overall, that for a relatively hot weekend, there was no issues floor-wise. And the tacky stuff was actually popular among the coaches. They were curious as what was being added. So I only showed them the cloth material that was dragged, not the actual chemical that goes in the washing machine. So Ellsworth won Division 1, and Machias won Division 2.
Matt, if possible, could you try to host that next year on July 19th, that weekend?
Basketball.
Yeah, it's Bay Festival weekend next year. So last year it was held during Bay Festival weekend, and we had a great turnout, and I think it's good for the families that are here in town. And this year it wasn't Bay Festival
Yeah,
weekend.
I believe. So I'm trying to do a boys' weekend and then a girls' weekend, and I try and flip-flop who goes first each year. So I think this year Bay Festival weekend was supposed to be the girls' weekend, but I only had Bucksport, Orono, and WA signed up. So I unfortunately had to cancel that weekend. I did invite the other 2 teams down for a little round robin with Bucksport, just to get them games, but they had backup plans in case. But no, I do intend on hosting it the same weekend. I just try and alternate the boys and the girls. So This year, the Tour de Loc had 61 runners participate. A few records on both the male and female side of the race were broken. Couldn't tell you off the top of my head. Mr. Jones has that info. Doggy paddle fundraiser. We had 45 dogs, which is the highest we've had in the 3 years that we've done it. And we raised about $350 in cash or check. I think it was actually all cash. I already dropped off to the town office upstairs. And then treats, toys, and cleaning supplies. I gotta get over to the shelter. It was a great day. Again, no issues. Docs seem to have fun. And hoping to continue it for next year.
Matt, real quick on the Tour de Loc.
Yep.
That's the same day as that bike
Yes.
race. And I know this was the third year, 3 for that, but they were talking about re-upping. Do you know where that stands?
I don't.
It has, there's been no conflict between the two. But just for planning next year, it would be nice to know if they're coming back to do that bike race, cause that takes a tremendous amount of our planning and doesn't give us a chance to really do anything with you guys. In the past, we've set up at the end of the Tour de Loc.
Yep.
With the lights and all that. And we haven't done that because of the staffing for the bike race, so.
Yeah, no, it's been fine. I know we've had an couple EMTs available. We didn't this year, but makes sense. I mean, bigger race compared to the Tour de Loc, but that'd be good to know if they are coming back through.
I'm not sure they know.
After school care, I did get the info as far as positions wise over the weekend. Hopefully it should be posted soon if it's not already posted. The lead role will be also an office assistant to myself, and then we'll be looking for some part-time helpers in the afternoon. The goal is still to start it at the end of the month, beginning of October. And I believe Matt had met with Mr. Tripp as far as utilizing Miles Lane Gym in the afternoons for a few hours, just to help BACC get back on their feet, and at least comfortable. So, any questions there? Youth sports for the fall. Amanda Wardwell would like to continue her softball pitching clinic through us this fall and into the winter at MLS. I just got to talk to Miss Darcy Dakin at Miles Lane, make sure the gym is available. I'm almost 95% sure that it is. I just got to chat with her and then fill out the paperwork. Unless Anthony's new system is ready to go. She does work with a handful of Bucksport students, and then she gives us a small kickback for insurance-wise to utilize it. And she is aware and does know that she needs to pitch towards the bleachers and not towards the cafeteria. I know we had a little issue last year, whether it was her or the other pitching group that was in there. Made a couple holes in the stage dividers, but lessons were learned. So hopefully keep up that good working relationship with her, helping the Bucksport students that play softball get better and improve. I think it's great that they hear from different voices as far as techniques or work ethics. As far as current youth sports, we have 18 in youth cheering. That's only a little off from years past. Typically it's close to 25-ish. Soccer, we have 84. And then football, we have 50.
So with those, is there boys, girls for soccer, or is it co-ed? I'm not sure how the youth soccer works.
It's co-ed. I'd like to get it to where it's not, but a couple things play into it, and it's field availability is one. Um, also just the number of, number of females or number of males sign up for those age groups. And then the biggest question mark every year is getting coaches.
Yep.
Fortunately, I had our 6U coach who did it last year, was coming back this year. I was able to get him a couple helpers. And in our 10U, I had a couple parents say they'd step up. Well, one of them was going to do 12U, but because the middle school opened up soccer to 5th graders, not many 11 or 12-year-olds signed up, only a couple.
So that 84 is pretty much 10 years old and under.
Yep, we got
That's good.
18 in 6U or 20, 37, 38-ish in 10U, and then about 28, 29 in 8U.
Do you have a 9U?
So the 9U falls under 10,
Okay.
so.
I just had a parent who said that there was only 4 kids signed up for 9U, so she was kind of concerned. I didn't realize there was a 9U. Usually it's 8, 10, 12,
Yeah,
14, 16,
it goes
so that's why I
yeah,
wanted
it
to
goes
ask.
6,
Every
8,
other
10.
Right, okay. That's why we ask the experts.
It may be only 4 9-year-olds that were signed up.
Maybe that's
So-
what she meant to say.
And your football is still 1, 2, 3, 4. 5, 6?
Kind of, sort of. So tackle-wise, we do have 5-6. We have 14 for 5-6. And then this year I had a few second graders that were interested in doing tackle. And I know these 3 second graders, they're the type of kids that need that extra energy put out. And that I know if they did flag again that they'd be going stir crazy. So I talked to the parents. I said, if it's up to you. If you want to sign them up, they can play. We can teach them the proper techniques. And they're already tackling their friends at flag or out at recess or before practice. So they were on board for it. One dad's actually helping coach. Actually, no, two parents are helping coach. So tackle's now opened up. We have 5-6 team and then a 2nd through 4th team. But it's only a few. It's only 3 second graders. And then we have last year or the year before we opened up flag to kindergarten. So flag football is now K through 2. They just are learning the basics: throwing, catching, some route running. They'll eventually possibly start hitting the 5-man sled, not with their shoulders, just working on blocking with their hands, just to give them a taste of what it's like. And then tackle football, we did end up getting 30 guardian caps this year. We had 31 sign up for tackle football between 2nd through 6th grade. I did end up having to borrow a couple guardian caps from the varsity team, so I don't know if I got my full 30 or if someone ended up getting 2 guardian caps. So I was technically should only needed to borrow 1, but I had to borrow 2. But it's going well. Kids are loving it. They're going 3 days a week for an hour and a half each night. They get a little overlap with the varsity team practicing, so they get to kind of glance down the field and see them working hard. Seeing what it's going to be like for them when they get older. So it's been a great start. 6U started on Saturday. They have their second practice tonight. 10U's been going Tuesdays and Thursdays last week, and we started last week. And then 8U, I was waiting on a couple background checks to come back, so they start on Wednesday. And then hopefully games start on the 21st. I'm just waiting on a soccer game schedule. Tackle football, we go up to Millinocket on Sunday for a couple games. So it should be hopefully some good football. And hopefully we come back in one piece. But should be a fun fall season, and Buck Tunnel started up on Friday night, so, and then I was talking to someone on Friday night at the game. Mr. Boynton, Coach Boynton would like to do like a youth night at a soccer game. Get the youth soccer kids there. We may have to spread it out over a couple games. Granted, there's 84 kids, so but we'll go from there. Any questions? Trunk or treat. Hoping to do October 26th. I just got to coordinate with the RSU as far as using the parking lot again. I believe the boosters were planning an activity that day because they had asked me. That's a Saturday. I believe the boosters were planning an event, so I'm going to try and coordinate with them. That way we both can do something that day. They asked if I was doing it that day, and I was like, it's on my to-do list. But that way they can still have their event, and we can have trunk or treat, and there's no kind of pick or choose for families. And then as far as time frame, it's probably going to be late afternoon, evening time. And we'll go from there. Currently we have 121 active members for our branch. It gets used quite frequently. When school started, we did go back to our school hours, 5 a.m. to 7 a.m., Monday through Friday, and Monday through Thursday, 3 p.m. to 8 p.m., and Fridays, 2 p.m. to 8 p.m., and then Saturdays, 7 to 12. And then we're closed Sunday for public safety to utilize the fitness room.
This is active members for your fitness center.
Yep. Anything else?
Yeah, so I got a couple of things. Sorry, just checking with somebody, make sure there's no sports stuff. What does the senior center and the YMCA do in conjunction for senior fitness and stuff? Has that stopped or?
We haven't been doing anything really. We had a while that Caitlin was taking them to the swimming pool, but that didn't work out because they didn't like to change. They didn't like having to change there.
Change at the pool?
Yeah.
Down in Ellsworth?
No, they're going to Blue Hill.
Oh, Blue Hill.
And I don't know what the problem was, but that was what I heard, is they didn't like having to go in and change. And I said, well, what do you want to wear, a wet bathing suit back on the bus? I don't know,
Oh, afterwards, okay.
but that was, they had to change before and they had to change after, because, I mean, you can wear a bathing suit, I guess, but you don't want to wear a wet bathing suit home.
Right.
And that's one of the things that they didn't like. So it kind of, we had a few that were going, and then the numbers just dropped off. And do you remember that? Oh.
No, I remember she'd take some of like a group of the seniors to Ellsworth to shop or
She
somewhere
did
to go
that, and
shopping.
I wish she was here now, because I have to take him on the train ride this fall.
I wish.
But, no, we're going to Unity, they liked doing that last time, but no, we haven't done anything besides those trips and the pool, other than that. You don't remember doing the pool?
I don't. It sounds like it happened, but I don't.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
So as of right now, there's no relationship between the seniors and the YMCA?
No.
Not at the moment.
At the moment, okay.
And I haven't been able, since I came on, get a Zumba instructor.
What they would like, that they've been looking for mostly, is Tai Chi. They'd like to have there's a Tai Chi class that we get asked a lot. Vanessa was gonna do chair yoga, and she took all those chairs that, remember Mrs. Tardif used to have that class up on the stage down there? They had all those green chairs, Then when the school wanted it back, they had all those chairs, they got rid of them, so they're up at the senior center now. Cause Vanessa was gonna, she didn't know what to do with the chairs. They're like this but green. And, she was gonna come teach a chair yoga class, but she got busy with other things and that never materialized either. University of Maine used to have a bone builders class before the pandemic, and we had about, between 6 and 8 people that would come on a regular basis to do bone builders. But then when the pandemic hit, the University of Maine shut those things down and never picked them back up. So we lost bone builders. And that's something that we do get calls for on, kind of regular basis. People say, do you still have bone builders class? So something like that would be popular. I don't know if you have anybody that's trained to do that, but I think if you had somebody, the university would be willing to train them. They just lost all their volunteers. They closed the program down, and then when they did, they didn't get any of their volunteers to come back. But, because the university trained it through the University of Maine Center on Aging. That's what that was through. So if you knew of somebody that was interested in working with seniors and would want to get trained for a program like that, or if somebody who knew Tai Chi or yoga, or, those are some programs that might be beneficial for the seniors.
Vanessa and I coordinated to, do a more accessible, walking group, but nobody ended up signing up.
Well, they have a walking group that they made themselves right now. They have aerobics Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 8 to 9, and then afterwards they go and get the training. Well, one lady goes home and gets her dog, and then they come back and then they go walk the trails with the dog. But they kind of built that on their own. And I'm sure when winter comes that will stop.
That was one. And then number 2, and probably a big thing, because it's nice to have have a lot of these things, but our infrastructure is starting to fail to the point that it's getting rapid. With the basketball courts, the town just purchased the new lights, and this summer my crew hooked up the new nets, but now the court's deteriorating. We know what condition the tennis courts are in because they've been like that for quite a few years, and I should hear back about that grant shortly. And then the playground, but I guess the big thing is the facilities themselves and what we need to do. The trails just got $10,000 makeup, and they're still working on right now fixing those as well. But I think we need to come up with a priority list or something before we start losing even more stuff. I mean, we see the condition of the ice rink, and that has just gone even worse than what it was. It's to the point where it's not even recognizable anymore. So my thoughts is that maybe this committee should figure out a capital improvement plan or a wish list or something, because between that back wall at the pool and all the other stuff, I mean, that's a serious amount of money, and if that stuff goes, that's a serious lot of recreation that goes with it. So I don't know what everybody else's thoughts are, if anybody's seen any of this stuff, but
I know we've started a capital improvement plan. We just gotta finish it and push it forward. But I'm all for it. I jokingly asked for C4 for the ice rink myself, but I get shut down every time I ask them.
What was it?
Asking for C4 for the ice rink.
The ice rink doesn't have anything to do with what you were looking at when you were doing the playground. That's not the same type of land or under the same. That's a separate.
for the grant.
Yeah.
I mean, yep, that's the same. That was also built with the same grant money.
So could some of that be put towards the ice rink?
Well, it could, but then I think what we need to look at holistically is, all right, the last 2 years, it really hasn't been open because there ain't no weather to ice skate anymore. So is that still really a viable plan? Because the first thing we did was we shortened the length of the ice rink.
Yeah.
But what I mean is like a quarter board. So that way only one end, because to maintain it, I mean, the chief went up one day and a bunch of us went up with shovels and he was up with his ATV, and It took hours. So there's not really staff to speak of. Matt doesn't have staff. So there's Anthony's crew that maintains the fields and the gyms for recreational use. And then there's town staff that gets pulled off of what they do to help with the ice rink and stuff like that. And then in the summer, I send the waterfront kids up to help, you know, wherever is needed to make sure that these things get done. But the ice rink just seems to be a continual issue. There's a
Yeah.
building, which
Yeah.
is in great shape, it's got brand new lights on the outside and still needs some love on the inside, but right now it's acting more so for storage. And then the rink itself is, I mean, if you go look up at it now, I mean, it's, I don't know what is growing in there now, but it doesn't look like there's even any asphalt. And I had that,
Tell you, when it gets cleaned out, it does not smell good. That's before we put the water in it. Whatever that is growing does not smell good.
So that's probably not safe. Would it be a better idea to use that for something else? I mean, is the ice rink, you said you hadn't been able to even use it for the past 2 years, is that something that would be sorely missed if it was gone?
I
Or
had,
would it be better utilized for something else? I mean, what's that guy who wants to
It's-
make a skate park? Could he put a skate park over there?
It's the ice rink is 50-50. I know last couple of years we haven't got the winters for it. As far as you get a nice cold day for 1 day or 2 days in a row, it's great, it's filled, it's frozen, and then you get snow, okay, then it's been raining right after we get snow. So therefore, I can't touch the ice rink until it's cold again, and I can go out there and either clear it off and then refill it, or it's basically unusable. And then, when it is ready to go, I hardly see anyone using it. And people have all said, Matt, leave some shovels out, we'll help clean it off. And I've done that, and I've seen shovels grow a pair of legs and walk away. I've had a couple high school students come in after school, like before or after their practices, to help clean it off in the past. Other than that, it's just me during the day on it, but again, we don't get the winters like we used to.
So do you think it could be repurposed for something else, and that it wouldn't be, well, you know, right now, if it's just wasted space, could we turn it into something else that's more usable for the community?
I had test borings drilled on it. SW Cole came and the underlayment it's fine. It's not like the tennis court. Like the tennis court needs to be, the tennis court has been there since 1974, so 50 years. And earth moves and stuff, right? But the ice rink isn't. The underground is perfect, so it could. I mean, I looked at it for potential pickleball.
Yeah,
So, I mean, it could be repurposed, but I think it's up to this committee to decide. You know, it's sort of like some of the things the town council deals with. Push it down, push it down, push it down. Well, eventually we're gonna stop pushing this down.
well, if there's not staff, I mean, to staff an ice rink, that's a lot more work than it is to staff a pickleball court. I mean, as long as you have nets up, you got a pickleball court. You don't need to have someone put down ice, clear off ice, you know. Someone brings their paddle and brings their ball, and they're all ready to go. That might be a better solution. I mean,
The problem with your ice rink is, like you said, once you get rain and snow, you get slush.
Yeah.
You go out there to level it off, now you get footprints that freeze. You don't have a flat surface.
now it's Zamboni.
And then you gotta refill it. I mean, that one day that Chief brought his ATV up, what he did in an hour would have taken me and the crew that I had there about 5 or 6 hours. And that was before we put 16 boards across. This was before we found there was a crack in the pavement and we put the boards down. But even still, that section, but from light pole to light pole, it's a lot to maintain for 1 to 3 people.
Yeah,
But
I don't know what the
I think-
numbers are
I think
for the pickleball court over there in Orland, but they have beautiful ones.
I think
And I mean, if we could
whether it's
have something people are gonna use.
pickleball or tennis courts or even the skate park over there.
Yeah, I know.
Whatever,
Eric
I think
wants
it
a
can be
skate park
used,
someplace.
I think it can be used for something else. But the way it looks right now, as far as whatever's growing or dying in there, that's, I think, the worst it's been.
And that's
So-
just maintenance, right? I mean, 'cause it's, that
I
hasn't
don't-
really been maintained, is it?
I don't know if it's what it is, that's the, I know some, like, towards the end of the fall when I go to clean it out, it's majority leaves that are there, but, that's one thing, but there's no reason paved surface not being really used should be looking the way it is.
Well, you get a lot of trapped water, leaves, organic decay.
There's a drain.
Probably clogged.
Is it raining? How long's it been since the drain's been cleaned? Like, totally cleaned out.
Is it actually pitched the right way anymore?
Right.
I mean, you said earth
If you
moves.
get that drain a little bit clogged and it starts to decay, it's gonna stink.
Yeah,
Like,
it will.
just that little hole will stink bad. Really bad. So I wonder if it's not the drain that's stuff.
I mean,
You could have an animal in
pavement's
there
also
dead,
not
you
even,
could have a number of things. in it.
pavement's not even as well, so it doesn't,
It's probably not pitching right? I mean, it's probably not draining towards the drain like it should.
They could use a good top coat, and the pickleball courts could go on the new tennis court area as well. Like, what I'm saying is just it's sort of like the Performing Arts Center. It's a very underutilized space, and right now, as we're continuing to grow and we have this, when things disappear, they don't come back.
Well, that's why if we're not gonna use it as an ice rink, before we let it fall into disrepair, should we turn it into something else that people are gonna care enough about to take care of? It sounds like they don't care enough about an ice rink to take care of it, and there's nobody using it, so it's not, that's not a proper function for that area. It should be used for something else, whether it's a skate park, a pickleball court, a basketball court, I don't know what people want, but it sounds like they don't want an ice skating rink, and they're not willing to put the time and effort into it, and it's gonna be a waste of space, so we should refocus it into something else.
there is this material, if we turn the rink into something else, there is this material, the company that sells it. It's basically like a very big plexiglass. You just lay it down wherever you want it. You don't have to add water or anything. You can skate on it. All you have to do is just shovel it off.
Those are getting really popular.
And so kids could roller skate, or,
They can ice skate on it.
oh, they could ice skate on it.
Yep, and then every, I think maybe 2 years, you gotta get it resurfaced. But
So instead of ice, they skate on.
basically, it's kinda like plexiglass.
Could they use it for roller skating?
I don't know. I think it's,
You can use
I
it
think
for
it's,
whatever you want, might be a little slippery, but
Yeah.
I think it's designed for,
for
Ice
ice
skating.
skating, for blades.
Do they come in like a puzzle type pattern though, for easy takedown?
I haven't seen it. I've only,
some of them do, so maybe interchanging between
I've
roller
only seen
skating and ice skating.
what's on the website, and of course, they don't list pricing. They want you to contact them so they can get you on their list.
Is the plan to put pickleball up where the tennis court is? Is that the plan?
Yeah, one tennis court, two pickleball.
So we wouldn't.
It could be, it could either be two tennis courts or one and two, and it'd be cheaper to go two pickleball, one tennis court.
People
So-
use that.
Yeah,
Every day I drive by there is people out there using that.
And I think the numbers are, that's
Even
why I thought it
even
would
in
be
the
good to have,
condition it's in.
good to have, but wouldn't it be redundant to have two that close together, don't you think?
Yeah, because the problem is you can't do a. It's come to my attention that in order to have, like, if the high school wanted to do a tennis team, you would need 3 courts, and we really don't have the space in the existing location to add a 3rd court.
And there's not enough space in the ice skating rink.
I'd have to measure out.
It's an Olympic size ice
Dimensions.
rink.
Yes, it is. It's a big size ice rink. But yeah, and you could always do the 2 tennis courts and put pickleball up there. I mean, but I think at some point we need to, as a committee, figure out.
Well, we could repurpose that ice skating rink, because it sounds to me like, I mean, unless I'm wrong, the ice skating rink is not something anybody wants anymore. We need to repurpose that.
I don't think these winters like this are going away.
No, I don't either. And maybe what you said might be the solution there. If
I
you
don't
wanna
know
keep
the
someone to
cost.
skate on.
And all we need is a flat surface of grass. We just lay it down and then boom.
Yeah, because the boards are starting to decay as well, rot out
The
at the rink. Yeah,
Perimeter.
the perimeter. Yeah.
been there a long time.
They've been there a very long time. I don't know, what do you think, Chief? You've been around the longest.
I don't know what to think. It would be nice to find someone to build a dome there so you could play indoor soccer and football.
That's frowned upon by the grant people,
Plus
because
it
I've
makes-
asked.
Does it make sense in Maine? I mean, I think you'll get a little bit of backlash from a handful of people when you get rid of that ice rink, because there are people that call every year wanting to know when it's going in, why it isn't in, why it isn't shoveled off, and then you get half dozen to a dozen kids and a few parents up there, but maybe they'll show up and maybe they won't, but you might get a few that will say why. It is hard to maintain, the weather's not good, hasn't been good, probably isn't gonna be good. I think you could repurpose it. Not sure for what, really.
I don't know.
I think your one tennis court, two pickleball on the tennis court would be your best bet. And that place is utilized almost as much as the creative playground. I mean, there are people there every day and almost every night.
I believe in the
So-
past when we brought this up, as far as moving tennis and pickleball over to the ice rink for the warmer months, they were kind of, the people, the tennis and pickleball people were kind of against it because it's not visible.
Right. They like the location, it's out in the open, it's.
Can't really move the tennis court, can you? That was not part of the grant, but you couldn't do that?
So it's been there for 50 years, so it's depreciated its value. The only thing you have to do is keep it recreational. So what we could not do is turn the tennis courts into parking.
Right.
What you can do is change it from 2 tennis courts to a single tennis court, 2 pickleball courts, or from 2 tennis courts to 4 pickleball courts, or outdoor basketball. Anything that is outdoor recreation, because it's gone past its time.
Alright.
So with the ice rink, that was 1985. That must have depreciated by now as well. So I did ask, and I think Chief may have been with me when I asked, could we do a field house? And the response back is outdoor recreation. So back in '85, when there were less rules, we were also able to build the warming hut for the ice rink, but is now frowned upon. It has to be outdoor recreation.
So to clarify, we couldn't even put like a rec center there.
If it's an outdoor rec center.
So they pretty much want you to make a lawn.
So think of the fort. The fort's got that grant as well, right? So it has to be outdoor. So that's why, I think Gaga Ball, someone brought that to attention about a year ago, but that's starting to get big, but I don't know if you can use that with an asphalt surface. And maybe you can, and maybe that's something to think about. Maybe it's a multi-use facility that in the winter you lay down that material and you can skate. In the summer you can Gaga Ball, but
I think it'd be a great spot, the skate park or tennis or pickleball. It's, get its use, and there's bathrooms convenient to them.
well, I think it's the big thing is that building's right there and it's got the bathrooms.
Yeah, that's a good point. So up to high school, if you wanna use the tennis court or pickleball court, you gotta hold it until you get back home.
I keep a porta potty there till July 31st. Yeah. Once I know school's getting back, I know they want to get the grounds, get rid of the porta potty so it can be mowed and taken care of, and the teachers can come in and out without that there. So that and the playground have a porta potty till July 31st.
Well, we could do multi-use if there was because if it's that's a big space. If you wanna put a couple extra pickleball courts in there, but what about another basketball court? I know they've got the nice one there already, but could the town benefit from another one?
I don't know. I mean, we get some good usage at nighttime of the court. I'm
a basketball guy, so I love where Bill's going with this. Maybe current outdoor courts, basketball courts, kind of meet the pickleball and tennis players halfway, gets transitioned in pickleball or tennis, and then put the outdoor courts on the current ice rink, where there's already lights put up, they need to be worked on, but that kind of helps, meets those people halfway and gets everything going, and then the ice rink space doesn't get used for about 9 months of the year. It's just a space.
I think we need to take care of what we've got before we build more.
Yeah, yeah.
We have a beautiful basketball court, let's take care of it, not build another one. Cause then the capital improvement goes from 1 court to 2 courts, we can't even take care of 1 right
Yeah.
now, so let's not build more of anything until we take care of what we've got.
I would
Let's see
say-
if we can do that.
And even with the tennis court and the basketball court, I don't see like lines of people waiting to get on to
No.
Right.
use. I mean, so I don't think it's a capacity issue, more isn't gonna solve any problem, I don't think right now. I would either, if we're gonna get rid of it, look at either a different fix with the winter, with the plexiglass, or moving the skate park if they're open to looking at that. Or something along those lines. Again, I don't think adding more of something we already have is fixing any need out there, from what and I don't see people waiting outside that tennis court, waiting for a game to get on.
But is part of, is there no line because of how, of the condition of it? Like there's.
Right, but we're gonna fix that
Yeah.
anyway, so and that may be, but, I mean, I would think 3 courts, 2 pickleball, and that's the bigger need right now, and if there is a line, then you still have that space, you can go back and add more in the future if necessary.
I don't think we have an answer for that place yet.
For the ice rink.
I did.
I think it should be repurposed into something. I mean, I don't know what, I don't have the answer, but I don't think that's a space that's, like you said, it's gonna fall into disrepair and become unusable if it's not taken care of, and looks like taking care of it as an ice rink is not an option anybody wants to do, or has the capacity
I mean,
to.
for the winter season, I would actually probably say 60% of the battle is Mother Nature. So if we have good winters, I can do my best, and then a few high school students that I get on it, do our best to keep it open. We did it the first couple of years when I took over.
But if the boards are starting to rot, I mean, we don't wanna put money into something that we know we're not gonna keep.
I think that's what it is these things don't get used or really maintained. If they don't get maintained and they fall into disrepair and people forget what they are, oh, all right, we need to fix this now. Well, where's the data that says that there are lines forming to use the ice rink, that the winters are gonna go back to being cold and it's gonna stop snowing, then raining, then being crap all winter. But we can't just, we put those side doors up, the town crew put those back up last year and they're back down again.
But why does it need the perimeter boards?
'Cause I think,
'Cause
cause
originally
they
it
play
was-
hockey on there.
Yeah, originally when it was full use,
And they used to have hockey games.
they played
there.
hockey on them.
But if we're looking for a place for recreational skating, do you need the perimeter boards? Like, is that just a waste of
That's
money?
what I was just thinking too, is
No.
if we're not gonna repair it and it's in disrepair, then it should go to the council to tear it down, keep the ice rink portion that
Right.
you got, if it's doable, if it's not, cover the other area over.
At least that way you can
Tear it
drive
out,
on it with
grass it
something
in and leave
to
it.
plow or snow blow, you ain't got the perimeter, you can just get out there and.
If you were to tear that down, tear it out, grass it over and leave your skate area, look at Ellsworth.
Yeah.
They've got a beautiful skate area, it looks just like the one we've got, but it's in the middle of the park. They put up their boards, they fill it in, and if they can do it, they do it, if the weather's not good, it sits there. It's
Maybe
where it
that's the
goes.
idea, is make it more maintainable.
Right,
If
get
it's
rid
an
of
Olympic
the
size one right
stuff
now,
that's
why does
gross
it,
and-
make
yeah.
it small,
Yeah.
just make it small.
Make it, yeah, we're not a community, we don't have, we have soccer and football, but we don't have an ice hockey team. If we did, maybe there'd be 100 kids, I don't know, but if we're not using 90% of that.
I bet
If
those
you would
6
keep your
people,
boards and tear the rest of it down, fill it in, then it's gone, you've got that one area. And if the weather's good, we use it, if it isn't, then we don't.
those 6 people who call you probably want it because it's the beginning of winter and they just saw a Hallmark movie about family skating and they
Yeah.
want to go out there one
Yeah.
time and put on their skates and
Yeah.
they'll do it one time and never go back.
then
And
meet
that's
at the
what we
train
need,
station. Yeah.
big enough for someone to make a twirl on and then go
Right.
home.
Then they meet at the train station. At the
Yeah.
end of every movie. I tell my wife, these two are gonna meet at the train station.
My neighbors, they put one
That's
up
all
each
they
year
ever do.
and they put lights
Oh,
on
okay.
and everything,
Meet at
so,
the train
yeah.
station.
There are people who
All right.
do it, but not enough.
Come on.
Yeah, if we had a small one that we could maintain, people could shovel off and the staff could cover and put some lights up and take your picture for your Christmas card and go home.
That may be the answer.
Yeah.
If it's in disrepair and it's starting to stink and stuff, keep what you got, tear the rest of it down, grass it in and be done with it, and then it's gone. That's the way it
They
is.
used to do that at the old tannery stream.
You got what you got. Then we won't be discussing this anymore. You'll have an ice rink, and if the weather's good, we have it, and if it isn't, then we don't.
At least do it for a year or two and see what
Yeah.
you have for numbers and usage.
But you're right, but why leave up what's if it's rotting and stuff?
Right.
Leave the two end boards where you're at, or you don't even need the end boards, take that out.
Yeah.
And then just keep your box there, and go with it or don't go with it, that's what it is. a
It's all
small
pavement
ice-
under there anyway, right?
Huh?
Is that what's under it? It's pavement?
It's all
Yeah,
pavement,
you
yeah.
just need to tear that out. Grass it in, boom, and you're all done.
Rich makes a good point about maintenance affecting people using it. It was super popular for a long time.
Right. It was, yep. Yeah, they used to have pickup games like soccer and all that. They used to have pickup, you'd go up there and they'd crashing people into the boards and laughing and, I mean, that was 25 years ago, but they did. There was a lot of people up there when it first started.
We got about 5 or 6 shovels and then 2 snow blowers. Chief has brought his ATV once, maybe twice.
Yeah, a couple times.
And I borrowed my father-in-law's 4-wheeler with a small plow on it a couple times. But, I mean, that was before we put in the small.
What are the
section.
dimensions of that new one? Roughly.
85 by 100.
Just doable then.
I only know that because that's the size of the tarp,
Yeah.
roughly.
So if we were to get rid of everything else around it, that's more than doable. Because we're concerned about everything around it and not that. So if everything around it was gone, because we're not gonna do much with it, if anything. We've been talking about it for years, and now it's in disrepair, get rid of it. We're not gonna, are we gonna put $100,000 into new boards going around that? No.
Get rid of the boards.
Get rid of them.
Have a little spot to
To skate,
skate.
if you want to, and that's it.
and if it becomes popular again,
Right.
then you can look into making a small perimeter around
A
it.
small, yeah, not an
No.
Olympic size,
Right.
I mean, I think the Olympics is gonna be in 2028.
Right.
Seriously, don't build something so big.
The town purchased, some land behind the practice football field from the H post up to the trails, up by the middle school, where the power line comes across. And that's, plans for a future, baseball field. So I'm not sure if this committee knew that the town had done that, but that's already been signed. Had to get a forester out there to get us an opinion, to get those trees out of there. And then the last thing, more so related to both RSU and the school, but if we were to come up with some, disc golf nets and stuff, would that be something would that be in the way of like your crew if we wanted to put them on the fields and open up and maybe do some teaching of disc golf?
How are they on the field? They have like a tripod type stand or?
Yeah, similar like that. Yeah, they're movable. They don't need to be permanently attached, obviously, because they would never been brought up if it was. But way to, something different to utilize during the summer, something out of the way, and something for the community
As long as they're
to use.
picked up and put away, I don't see an issue with that. No. As long as they're not left out, you know.
It's something where people would have to bring their own. But if we provided that, because I see a lot of other schools are starting to do that now, so.
Which field were you thinking?
We have a whole bunch of them, I guess, wherever it's the least, right? You probably don't want them on any of your varsity fields, so that way they have the time to, mature and grow and, but you've got practice fields and there's 2 of them there, and maybe you use both or one.
I think that's definitely doable.
Yeah.
Well, I dominated the end of this meeting.
Next meeting, beginning of December? That works for everyone?
Maybe. All depends on the day,
I'll make sure it's
and what the people wanna do.
I'll send it out to you guys, and
Yes,
if more than half of you can't make it, I'll reschedule. But, any other questions, comments, concerns?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.